Welcome to Salaam Nerds Podcast. We do reviews and recaps of nerd culture, reality TV, and current events from this week.
Yo, it's the Salaam Nerds. My name is Steve, aka Watch Me Steve, and I'm here with my boy Chad.
We drop live episodes on YouTube on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. All episodes can also be found everywhere podcasts are found. Thank you to all our supporters. Please help us by subscribing and leaving a good review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Yo, Salaam Nerds. This is your boy Neebs, aka Watch with Neebs, and I'm here with a special guest today. Probably one of the most famous people I've had on this show. Even though, okay, maybe we do have celebrities, but you're still the most famous person to me in my heart because I cannot walk 5 feet at a Comic-Con without somebody stopping you to take a picture, and that's fantastic. Frankie, welcome to the show. Frankie, how are you?
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. That's funny. I don't know why I'm so Comic-Con famous, but that's such a niche. It's literally Comic-Con, like conventions.
I'll be sitting next to you, and people were like, "Are you Frankie?" And it's so funny. It's really
so
cute.
weird.
It's like it's also these like little girls too, and they like look up to you. It's gotta be an amazing feeling.
It shocks me every time. Like they'd be like, "Oh, can I get a picture?" I'm like, "Of me?
Yeah.
Sure."
I mean, like, you have a lot of followers now, but back then you didn't even have that many, and people were still like, "Yo, I want to get a picture with Frankie. I want to get a picture with Frankie." I was like, "This is dope."
It's been really cool. I think I'm coming up on my 5th year doing just social media in general, and this is the first year that I felt like I had a following, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it feels like a lot of responsibility.
I know. With great power comes great responsibility, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh,
So I've been trying to clean up my do you have a cat?
No, I don't have a cat. I had I was eating ice cream earlier. I don't have a cat.
It was a cat you were shooing away.
No. Homemade ice cream. I make my own ice cream. So like I make it with heavy cream and milk and pistachio and cardamom. It's like a homemade ice cream that I make.
Well, you're like Nara Smith. Have you heard of her?
It's a South Asian ice cream called kulfi. So it's like a very popular dish. I'll make you some one day.
Absolutely. I love food.
Yeah,
Wow.
awesome. Also, speaking of food, Frankie sent me like tons of like stuff from Korea. She sent me like banana malt balls, banana almonds, banana like what else was it? I forgot what it was. It was really good.
Candy. I think I still have some. I do that with all my friends. When I send them like candy, I send them just some, just in case if they don't like it, I don't want to send them too much. But then if they do like it, I'm like, well, I have more. And gummies, they were like banana gummies.
Oh yeah, the banana gummies, they were good too. They were oh my god, I ate the banana gummies in one sitting. They were so good. I was like, how can I make these? Whenever I buy something, I always think about like ways to make them myself because I'm cheap like that. I'm just like, oh, I feel like I can make these. They're so cool.
Like this is and then I didn't send you this. This is my favorite. If you've ever seen a Ghibli movie, they have these the star candies.
Oh, that's so cool.
I had some though. It's literally sugar. I can't read the.
It's fine. I'm about to get diabetes anyways, man.
That's right there.
We're all about the sugar. All right. Some people on Instagram saying hello. Hey guys, have a nice day. Yep. Thanks for joining us. This is awesome. All right, we're gonna be talking about Xmen97. Let's get to it because there's a lot to talk about. The episode starts off with Magneto, and he is basically in a bar with Charles, and they are kind of having a very coming out kind of conversation. They're kind of like, are you a mutant? Are you a mutant? Like, all right, let's say it at the same time.
You say it first.
You say it first. Like, I thought that was really funny. In the 1960s, they don't want to get outed. It's it was a very queer coded kind of scene. I was like,
absolutely. I definitely felt they were flirting the entire scene, like the way that Charles was drinking his drink, the banter. Like I felt like I was intruding on a date.
It did feel like a date, right?
Yeah.
is really sus. Like two coworkers going on a date who seem to really like each other. That's what it kind of felt like.
But they don't want to like cross that boundary.
Yeah.
And that's honestly was the dynamic. They were coworkers who were on a date who didn't
Yeah.
want to like get in trouble. And also they were talking about things that were at the time and still in their current time very taboo. And
Yeah.
so it's like you think they're cool, but you never know how cool someone is until you test that limit, and testing that limit is very scary.
That's true. That's so true. I definitely feel like that. Like you kind of test the waters a little bit, but you don't know until you actually find out. And some people would be like, "Oh yeah, I'm liberal, I'm chill," and then like until you try to date one of their daughters, and then they're like, "Ah, I don't know about this, sir."
Over it. Or like, did you see Fallout?
Oh, I haven't started that yet, but I am.
Oh, okay.
I haven't played the video games, but we're gonna start Fallout. I think on the show soon.
Oh, you're gonna love it. There's a scene that's very similar where like I don't even want to. We'll
All
talk.
right, we'll go. We'll go.
Just be like, what was that thing? But I did
Yeah.
want to say with the Magneto scene is it was a touch on memory and kind of how unreliable it was.
Yeah.
Because that's not how Magneto finds out that Charles is a mutant. They get cornered, which is in the intro
Yeah.
scene,
Right.
and they kind of just use their powers because they're protecting each other. So to me, that scene was also Magneto kind of projecting on how he wish they had like I guess exposed their powers to each other, or how open they could have been with each other from the beginning.
That's so strange because I do remember that episode and I went back and I saw it and they're wearing the same outfit. So they knew what the original story was and they purposely put this in there on purpose so that it's a different origin story of how they became friends, but they're still wearing the same clothes to kind of acknowledge, hey, we know what we did, but now we're doing this, right? So
Exactly.
it was very interesting. Yeah, I found that really interesting. All right. I know that a lot of people thought we were going to see Onslaught, but we did not. Were you expecting that?
You know, I was, and then I thought about it. That would have been too much to put, and it wouldn't have done a disservice to put it in there. I
Yeah.
think we're still gonna see it, but I think that's something that we're gonna see in season 2 because the seeds were planted. They talked about it. You know, when Charles decides I'm gonna take over Magneto's mind, Jean warns him and says that's gonna fracture yours. And I think that was them setting it up for later.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing is like I kind of saw like because like I didn't watch it until like a few hours ago. So I was like at work and I'm like doing work stuff and then scrolling on Twitter and then I see like Captain America and I was like, oh no, a spoiler. But then I was like, I really hope he's not in it for real because that would also do a disservice to put the Avengers at the end of X-Men just to get some like a little like a cameo, but like it was small enough where I didn't mind it. Like they didn't really do anything, which is kind of similar with all the other cameos in there. They're just like little 1-second scenes.
Agreed, but what got me upset about it is that of all the cameos, they were the only ones not actively doing something. They were just sitting around conspiring. And I was
In the
like,
war
all
room.
this stuff. Yeah, in the war room. And I was like, y'all need to be on the streets. People are dying. And you got the B squad outside.
We got Cloak and Dagger. Who the hell knows who Cloak and Dagger? They're putting in work. They're out there making a difference.
Meanwhile, Captain America is sipping tea in the bunker. He's like, just in case a nuclear war begins, right?
His biggest contribution is to be like, I don't know about that. Like, that's all he did. Like the guy who's known for speeches, like that's all he has.
He doesn't care about the mutants and their plight, not in that way. At least not this version.
I mean,
And
Cyclops calls him out on that a lot.
all the time. And I guess what also got me upset was like nobody thought through that plan, the Magneto protocol.
Yeah.
Like at all.
No, not at all.
It was really weird. It was really odd to me. But I like Steve Rogers in the MCU, but I've never been a big fan of Captain America as a whole. And I think the big reason is the fact that his name is Captain America. And they're trying to push him as this like anti-establishment, like stick it to the man. But I was like, he went around as a propaganda tool. Like
Yeah.
the two don't mesh, you know?
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I think that's really, really true. We also get to see a few other cameos. We get to see our boy Daredevil. He's putting in work in Hell's Kitchen. I love the thing about Daredevil is that he only focused on 4 blocks. That's
Yes.
it. That's it.
Nice.
He has a very manageable expectation, and that's what he sticks with. I respect that.
I want to see him in Hell's Kitchen like right now.
Right?
Like I would he's at the Javits Center, he's getting Thai food, and he's like, this is not up to code. Like what would he be doing in Hell's Kitchen? Like
First of
at
all,
this
Hell's Kitchen
moment?
is not even that bad anymore. It's been
At all.
gentrified. So like he needs to find a new place to work. Because what's he gonna do? There's just like gay people in restaurants. That's all there are in Hell's Kitchen.
We call it the gayborhood.
Yeah.
I used to work out there. I used to work at the gayest gym in the city. It was called Temple. And yes, I was like, why is Daredevil all up in y'all business? And they were like, girl, we don't know.
That's so funny. I mean, it was I guess in the 90s. I remember it being a little bit more rougher, but yeah, 1 point for gentrification. I don't know.
Right.
Oh man, that's funny. We saw Silver Samurai, we saw Iron Man. I think that was about
Omega
it.
Red. I think we saw
Omega Red, yeah, his crew,
Mhm.
Crimson Red. We saw a few of those, so a few little cameos. We also we get back to Bastion. Now Bastion's like tearing up shit over there. And what happens is Magneto's whatchamacallit, electromagnetism or whatever, the EMP that he does makes everything kind of ruined. So Doctor Strange is like operating on something by candlelight. So he's got like these
Mhm.
candles up in the air and he's doing his magic stuff. All this crazy stuff's going around. So it's super crazy.
Who did you think he was operating? Because he still had on his costume.
Oh, true. Could it be
So I was
Wong?
like, it had to be someone important that they're like, somebody called Dr. Strange. He's the only one.
Yeah, somebody called Doctor Strange. I don't know. It could be Wong. Could be Rachel McAdams. Not
Maybe.
her character, the actual actress.
The actor.
Uh,
I thought it was very interesting. I was like, I want to know more about this surgery. Like, how did they get him in? Like, he didn't
I
even
know.
take off his cape, but maybe he kept it on just in case something went down. He's like, I need to be ready. But
Right?
like, was that person the only one who survived that night?
Yeah. Also, like, is his cape like OR friendly? Like, does it have to be scrubbed down? Like, how does that work?
Is it? Maybe they cleaned it. Maybe they cleaned it. Like they
Maybe
sprayed it.
they
They
plain it.
disinfected. I'm looking at it. I was like, I don't know. It doesn't look very sterile.
No,
But like, who cares? There's no
whatever.
electricity.
Whatever. It's a cartoon. So basically, Professor Xavier and Magneto having this battle, and Magneto's like, don't go into my mind. It's gonna break both of us. And Charles is like, whatever. I'll do what I want, bitch. Like, just whatever. So he goes into his brain and he takes over, and then he turns off the magnetism. Now the problem with that is all of Bastion's things are back up and running now. So Bastion's going to be starting throwing shit. Bastion starts going into this temper tantrum. He's like, I didn't ask to be born this way. And I'm like, whoa, kind of self-hating mutant right there. A little, also a little coded. I think that's a little interesting. One thing I think is interesting is that he did call them Neanderthal 2.0. And
Yes.
Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, basically the theory is that like one killed off the other in extinction, which is kind of like what's happening in X-Men right now, where like the humans and the mutants are trying to kill each other into extinction. So I don't know. I thought that was pretty interesting. But one thing that I found out that he said that was interesting is that people are too good. And I was like, too good? Do you know people? Like
After he made that speech about apathy, I was surprised that he said that.
yeah, I was like, he's flipping the switch. Yeah, someone said he flipped the switch. He flipped the switch on that a little bit, and he's like, oh, I couldn't really carry out my plans because people are too good. And I was like, are we in the same world?
Maybe because Val and like all of his co-conspirators like
Yeah, they
bowed
switched up on
down.
him.
Yeah, so he was like, wow, you guys are all soft. Nobody's standing on business. I also thought it was interesting that he was yelling at them for for Charles not admitting him into the school, and he was like, "It's Charles's fault." And they
Yeah.
was like, "Bro, that's your mom. We wanted you."
Yeah, you're a
And he
racist
wasn't
ass
trying
mom.
to hear it. Yeah, he wasn't trying. He was like, "It's too
No.
late now. Forget it."
Not only is his mom like anti-mutant, she was like old school racist too, because she's the one that ratted out Storm and whatchamacallit, Wolverine.
Yes, yes. Bo DeMaio admitted it too. She aged terribly. It's been like how long? Like 5.
The racists do age terribly. That is a condition of racism. You age terribly.
Yes.
Look at Ann Coulter. She's 19.
Oh yeah. You know, there's actually a canonic comic book called Bitter Root where like white people were turning into demons.
Oh my
from
god,
but only racist ones.
that's so funny.
Yeah, it's set in like 1920 and during the Harlem Renaissance. It's really cool.
Oh, that's really cool. I'll check that out. All right, so that was pretty cool. We also see a snippet of T'Challa.
It was the Chaka.
Yeah, so he was out there putting in, work, fighting some of these bad guys with the Dora Milaje. And Dora Milaje is very like MCU centric, where they were just like wearing the same outfits and stuff. I thought that was a little cool little nod to that. But Black Panther was wearing the cape, so he had the old school one, which I thought was really, really cool. What are your thoughts of T'Chaka being in this?
I was so glad to see that nobody became a prime sentinel in
Yeah.
Wakanda. I was like, yeah, none of y'all part of that business. And I think
Yeah.
that was the relief. But I love the cape on T'Chaka. Like, I think that's a very cool touch. Like, I
Yeah.
like this. I get why he doesn't wear it often, but
Yeah.
definitely on his leisure time, like throw a cape on. Be kingly.
Be kingly. Exactly. All right. So while Bastion is talking his shit, he's also talking shit to Cable, and he's like, "Cable, how many times have you tried to stop this?" And Cable's like, "I can't talk," and he goes like, "All right, Sinister, make this motherfucker talk real quick." I'm like, like, they thought you put that in there. So interesting to me, because they're like, he could have just asked him a question and have him answer it, but he was like, "No, Sinister, make him talk," which I thought was really interesting. He's like 200 times. He tried to save his mom 200 times and failed to it.
What did he gain from that was my question. Like, to your point, it was a huge temper tantrum. I was like, so what did we learn from this?
Yeah, like it was really nothing other than the fact that like it gave Cable some time to talk, and it gave Jean some time to become the Phoenix, right? Which kind of answers the question, like, who was the Phoenix? Was it Madeline or Jean? I guess we finally have our answer. Or did it not matter?
I feel well now. I think they're the same person. When Madeline died, her psyche like went into Jean's, so they merged. My canon, I think that Jean was the Phoenix because I don't think Sinister kidnapped her until her second wedding, where she died as a Phoenix twice. Because like, why was he still kidnapping her if he already cloned her? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes a lot. Yeah, you're right. That makes a lot of sense. Also, like, do you think Cyclops and Jean are married? Because like the person who got them married was Sinister, but he could have been ordained. We don't know.
It was Morph. It was Morph.
Oh, it was Morph, yeah.
Yeah, but no. So the first wedding wasn't Morph says it. Morph is like, this marriage is not real. So they get married in season 4, and that's when I think where they got switched. So at their wedding, Sinister pulls up again and kidnaps them. So they get officially married. I think season 4 was supposed to be the end of the original series.
Yeah.
So they get like actually married then. But yeah, the season 2 marriage was not real.
Not real. Oh man, I was really hoping that like Morph was ordained, because he was like, "I'll kidnap a bitch, but I won't let them conceive a child in sin."
Out of wedlock. We gotta wait. We gotta wait till they get.
We gotta make it legit. We can't have Cable be a bastard. We gotta make it legit.
You want the future of us or bastards is crazy.
Oh my god, that's so funny. And then we see Bastion take off his arm and beat him with it, which is pretty embarrassing. Who gets beaten with their own arm?
It's My favorite scene. I said that this episode was so unintentionally funny.
Yeah.
And that scene, it goes to, I think tantrum is like such a perfect word because he did seem like he was a toddler having a tantrum the entire time he was fighting. Like he seemed so frustrating. And like him pulling out the arm, beating him, he didn't have to do all that. Like he could just took it off and like put it on.
Yeah.
But he was tired of the mess. He was tired of it.
No, he wanted to humiliate them. That's why he's not all robot, man. He has emotions. He throws
Oh
these little
yeah.
tantrums for sure. He's like butthurt over not Xavier not like picking him, and like they're all like, "You could have been an X-Men."
He's like, no, I don't.
He's like, "Do you think I wanted this?" Like, all right, man, relax, man. Oh man, I thought that was pretty funny. So the Phoenix shows up with the cosmic force, and starts tearing up some shit. And then I love the fact that like we finally get to see the Phoenix go after Sinister.
Mhm.
And basically what she does is she takes back all the DNA from Sinister, from all the DNA that he's been stealing from mutants, which is really, really interesting. Because I don't think Sinister is actually a mutant. He just steals like the powers from mutants,
Yeah, he's a geneticist.
right? Exactly.
Yeah. This was the first time, not this episode, last episode was the first time I actually seen Sinister like fight.
Yeah.
Like he normally has soldiers that he created or things like that, but this is the first time, and to your point, it's just him stealing a bunch of powers.
Yeah.
So yeah, was he Zachary Quinto and Heroes?
Yeah. Yep.
He's
Zachary
that
Quinto in it.
guy.
He also gets like an ass kicked by Cyclops all the time. Like so many people can stand up to Cyclops, but not Sinister. He's like, "Owie, it hurts."
Something about that energy really itches him. He can't stand it.
You can't stand it, right? So it's really, really interesting. But yeah, Jean does that, knocks him out, takes his thing. For some reason, he goes up to Morph. He goes, "What do I look like?" And Morph like shows him his face, and I was like, "What the fuck?" That was so out of pocket.
I think that was supposed to be like Moore's comeuppance,
Yeah,
but
like
I
like
didn't feel it.
like it was like Morph getting the last laugh on Sinister a little bit, right? Because all
Yeah.
the stuff he did with them. He goes, "Oh, you look the same," and he's like, "But like, why is Sinister going up to Morph and me like, tell me what I look like?" Like, it's so
I
funny.
I thought it was like his way of like getting his power back. He's like, I gotta go to Morph. Morph will always make me feel good. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
he feels a connection to Morph, you know?
That's so funny. All right. And then we go back to some more memories of Xavier and Magneto, and he's trying to convince Magneto that his memories don't define him. A little bit of like, they're getting really intimate at this point. Like if we thought the beginning was a little coded, this part gets really, really intimate. What are your thoughts about them talking with the floods and the water, and they're just getting really deep into their conversations?
You're talking about Charles and
Charles and
Magneto.
Magneto, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I think they're in love. I think they're in love, and I think this is them admitting it. I think that it was a great look into just both of their psyches at the moment because so much
Yeah.
is happening, and it's so confusing. And we're watching these two leaders kind of figure out like what their place is in the world. You know?
Yeah, and I feel like it's Charles trying to finally get to Eric, which I thought. By the way, speaking of Eric, when you go into the war room, they have this like thing of Magneto, and they mention all the names, and it had like David, Ian, and Michael, which are the names of the voice of the original Magneto, Ian McKellen, and then Michael Fassbender, which I thought was really
Ah.
interesting. I was like, "Oh, they got all of them." I was like, "That was a really cool little Easter egg." I thought that was cool. But yeah, he's in his brain and he's trying to get through to him. He's never been able to get through to him before, but somehow now he kind of is able to get through to him. And I think it's because he kind of talks to him without his trauma, because he's like he can't remember his parents' face, he can't see his face, and he's trying to get him to really understand him without all his trauma and all his pain and PTSD kind of messing up his train of thought. But like, I don't know. I thought it was very interesting how Magnus comes out of it and he is kind of on Charles' side all of a sudden, or we think he is. We don't know. He kind of just comes out, saves everybody, and then the planet kind of just disappears and vaporizes.
Right. I feel like it was easier for Charles to convince him because it was the first time Magneto realized how long it's been since then and how he's lived a completely different life since that tragedy. Like he was a child. And
Yeah.
he's like, you don't remember these details because they're not a part of your life anymore and you're trying to hold on to it. And I think him realizing like I have a life that can be saved, that could be better,
Yeah.
kind of changed his mind, you know?
Yeah, I saw even in one scene we see a little boat with Rogue on it, but we also see Quicksilver and we see Scarlet Witch and we see Polaris. So I thought that was really cool, little
Mhm.
cameo, little Scarlet Witch cameo, which I think was really cool.
Mhm.
And then while this is happening, they're shooting these rockets at the asteroid, and you know they're doing the Magneto protocol. And while this is happening, Rogue is going to be fighting Bastion because Bastion goes up there. He takes the arm. He becomes like this archangel kind of person. He goes up there, and Rogue is just kicking his ass until she's not.
Right. She's winning until she's not. I can't believe how many of them can breathe in space.
Well, so uh, someone told me that they can't breathe in space. What happens is that part of the moon has air, and it was actually shown in the Shi'ar episode.
Yeah,
So when the
it was,
Phoenix was fighting everybody.
but they weren't always in that part. Like
Yeah,
Jubilee was just floating. She wasn't on the
yeah,
blue
yeah.
side. She was on the blue side of the moon. Cause I thought that too. Like, okay, they're on the blue side, but I was like, nah, they were flying around. Like,
Yeah, there was a good few seconds where they're just flying in the air. They were having the Star-Lord moment. They should have just been like freezing up and exploding. That- uh,
exactly. But I was like, I'll let it go.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I totally know what you mean. But then she starts losing. We see Sunspot. Sunspot get his little moment, which I thought was cool. Finally got his little moment and everything. And I thought that was super cool. A lot of people got their moments in this. So they bring Sebastian back into the room through Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler just bamfing him everywhere, just poof, 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 and then beating him while he's like bamfing him, and then he finally catches him, beats him down. But what I like about this, it actually shows like how well the X-Men work as a team. Like they may not be the strongest mutants and the most powerful superheroes, but nobody can touch them when they work as a team, which I think is really, really cool. So we got to see that. But the other thing I didn't mention, I love Rogue's line. Like his name was Gambit. Remember it before she clocked him.
mhm.
I thought that was cool too. Definitely like that. Jubilee, she got her moment. She got a little moment where she, upgraded her powers. Probably from the video game. I think she uses the same move the video game version of her uses. So
Yeah, but it wasn't any of the real cool stuff. Like, I thought
no,
she was gonna do all the stuff that, like I thought
yeah.
that was the point of that episode to upgrade her, and it was still, to me, like a variation of what she did in the video game.
Well, yeah, exactly, right? It did feel the same way. She just does it from up close, and it seems to hurt him. It did look like it hurt him, which was like, okay, fine. Jubilee did something. She, but he did call her out about her 4th of July
I
fireworks
would I was like, "Why why is he was reading them the whole time."
the whole episode.
He called Cyclops a deadbeat. Like, I was like, "Bastion, relax." Like, what's your problem?
He's the Cat Williams of like the X-Men universe. He was just calling out everybody.
Yes. Speaking of Cat Williams, I made the video. I never posted it, but I was so I felt like Marvel missed an opportunity by not casting Cat Williams as Galactus because, like,
Galactus.
imagine like Galactus as a pimp, like talking to the Silver Surfer, like, "Where my planets?" Like, I don't know. I just thought that'd be really funny.
Where my planet's at?
Yeah,
Bitch
for
better have my
sure.
planet.
Yeah, facts. You know.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Oh man. All right. So the UN did the protocol, and then we see these rockets go up. Uh, Magneto starts, trying to save people. What else happened? Oh, Beast shows up. Beast shows up with the Sentinel. They have a little Trojan horse moment. which I think was good. Obviously, Beast got to throw out his jokes a little bit, which I thought was funny.
I like his dad jokes.
I don't mind his dad jokes and his puns and his literature jokes. I think they're funny. But yeah, he's getting stopped on, and he's still just like pushing up against it. And we see Cyclops do his what's that, the beam from the video game, which I thought was
Mhm.
good, the wide beam,
The
like
optic blast.
yeah, the optic blast wide beam. That was really, really cool. Got to see him do that. But yeah, it was like it definitely showed like how the point of these characters was that they're not real family, but they are like a found family, right? We get to see that in Xavier's mind when he talks to Magneto and talks about my X-Men don't look like me, but they're my family. And we kind of get to see that here because we get to see them all in the same place. And it's been a while since we've seen them all in the same place since, like, they're also splitting up into gold team and blue team. So we got to see them in the same place, and you get to see how they are as a family, especially with Wolverine out there laying completely like dead, and Scott going, "Don't you break her heart. Don't you die for her." Where I'm like, "Dan Scott, I've never heard you say that
He
before."
was like, I think some of that was guilt too. Like Scott is responsible for Wolverine, not just for assigning him to go on the ship, but also because he stopped Magneto. He
Yeah,
stopped Charles from stopping Magneto. And so I was like, he is like, I need a Wolverine. You cannot die, please. God,
yeah.
you know?
That's so funny. Someone said on Twitter that like there's no way Scott was gonna let Wolverine go with Jean. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if his whole body's made of metal. He's keeping him where he can see, keep an
Yeah,
eye on him.
exactly. He's like, nah, nah, nah. I was like, they could have switched, but I guess they needed a telepath on each team.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny. All right, so we got Bastion. He goes into the antimatter thing, right before these um missiles are starting to hit, which I feel like Bastion's not dead. Bastion is probably going to come back somewhere after going into the antimatter. So we'll probably see him again. All right. And then what happens? The thing explodes and we get to see people scattered across time. But before that, Cable talks to Scott and Jean, and they have a little mom and dad conversation. And Jean lets him see his eyes for the first time, which, like, the last time Jean let anyone see his eyes, she killed him in X-Men United. She, which,
But
like,
this time
yeah.
it was out of love.
Yeah, this time it was out of love, so it wasn't that bad. So Cable got to talk to them, which I thought was cool. And then he kind of like he told them how he always heard their stories and always felt like he should have been there. And like I feel like he was kind of there. He's been there in a couple episodes. He's been there.
Yeah, like this is not the first time he met them, but this is, I guess,
It's when they
him
know.
recognize, yeah, when they
Yeah,
know. So he's had to be on the sideline.
yeah.
But you're right, like he's been a part of these stories and he didn't even realize it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Another cool thing that I really liked, did you see they had like a choir sing the X-Men theme song while that was happening? It was like a gospel choir singing in the
Really?
background. Yeah, it was so cool.
Oh, I gotta listen to it again. You're talking
Yeah.
about in the final scene?
In the final scene where they're trying to save everybody, where like Rogue and Storm are trying to like make the asteroid fly, and then we're also seeing like Magneto starts pushing in the asteroid. They start playing the X-Men theme song, but it's sung from a gospel choir. It was really, really cool.
I love that. I'm gonna look at that again
Yeah, yeah,
tonight.
check that out. That was really, really cool. Also, while this is happening, they show another cameo. This time, it's Peter Parker and MJ.
He
What?
found her.
Yeah. So this is a big deal because at the end of the Spider-Man show, and Spider-Man show is canon to X-Men because they did have a crossover. Um, the season ends with Mary Jane being trapped in the multiverse, and Spider-Man has to go and find her. And the fact that he's there with Flash Thompson and they're just looking at the TV, it worked. He found her. You
I
know
love
how,
it.
but he did.
I love that. Someone on YouTube was saying who the rebel fighters in the future.
Yeah.
That's Rachel Summers. That's Jean's daughter.
Oh yeah. That's Jean's daughter. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
happy. Let me
Putting
the way that the Avengers couldn't care less was
no.
astounding.
Yeah, Ant-Man doesn't give a shit. Give a shit. Iron Man doesn't give a shit. Cap doesn't give. They don't give a shit about these mutant problems, man. You know
But it
what?
was like the world was gonna die. It wasn't like some mutants was gonna die. Like
Right?
they were talking that asteroid was big enough to like decimate the world and create an apocalypse. But they're like,
Nah, mutants. It's like how they say like black on black crime, or how things are happening in the Middle East and brown people are killing brown people. Like that's how they treat mutants. Basically, it's just like it's the Middle East. It's just brown people killing brown people. It's black on black crime. Like that's kind of how they treat it. Like bad mutants versus good mutants. We don't care. It's all
they're
the same.
like, we don't want to interject. You know, I need to educate myself on this.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I need some puns from you. I've been working really hard on a pun, and I
Oh
can't.
yeah. Oh, I got so many puns. I got
Send
so.
me some.
I'll send you some. I'll send you some. I was doing some good ones. I have a whole list. I have a whole list of running puns. I'll send you some.
I love it.
We'll do it. What do you think about Morph telling Wolverine "I love you," but saying it as him?
As Gene, I
Gene,
saw. Yeah, so Bo DeMaio confirmed on Twitter that it was him. I thought he was saying it in the way that Cyclops was saying it, which was like,
yeah,
stay alive, or like this is what you want. But it was him saying like, I love you, Wolverine.
Yeah.
But you don't want to hear it from me. You want to hear it from her, which is tragic. Poor Morph can't get a break. That's all I can
think. That's crazy. Also the fact that he can literally turn into G. Like, I mean, like Wolverine. I mean, you can have your cake and eat it too, bro.
Yeah, but, you know, after a while, like it's tired. Like Morph is gonna be like, I want to be me. Why do I always have to be Jean? You know?
Yeah. There's been 3 Jeans basically, and Wolverine could have gotten with either of them. It's Madeline with Jean, and then Morph. He could have had his pick. Wolverine, you should have just shot your shot.
He wants the original. He doesn't want the copies. You know.
Listen, I would take a Walmart Rihanna. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
He said, "I want the pure. I want it from the source."
Oh man, it's funny. All right, so we see the X-Men. They get pulled out of time. We don't know where they are. The world is kind of super sad. We see Forge in his office, and Bishop shows up, and we see a lot of new mutants. We see Iceman, we see Shadowcat, we see Havoc, we see Colossus, we see Exodus, we see Emma Frost, we see Magic, and then we see our homegirl Dust, which like I'm super happy about. People don't know this, but Dust actually came way before Miss Marvel. She's literally the first Muslim superhero. So people don't really know that because she didn't get as popular as Miss Marvel and some of the other ones. But it's actually Dust. Then the second one is actually Isaiah Bradley's son, Josiah Bradley, who is Captain America. He actually is a Muslim convert from Harlem. So he's the second Muslim superhero, and Miss Marvel is like not even in the top 5.
Yeah.
She's just the most popular, which is really, really interesting.
Because she's Spider-Man ties.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's the biggest thing. And she just has overall a Spider-Man like personality.
Yeah.
You know, so there's just something that people could really attach to.
Yeah, and she had good writers. I think G. Willow Wilson was a solid writer, which kind of helped put her over the top, which is cool. There are some other superheroes that were AWOL, which was Cable, Jubilee, and Sunspot. I don't know what Cable's doing, but Jubilee and Sunspot are probably hooking up. We don't know.
You think so? No, didn't they? You don't think that they left with them? If they're AWOL, that means they came home, they saw him. Not that they are lost in time, right?
No, they're not lost in time. They're home, but they're not part of like any government official. Nobody knows where they are.
Yeah, because they tired. Both of them. They're teens. They just want to live their life. I don't blame them.
They just want to go to.
Roberto had a really rough year.
Yeah. Roberto's got that money though. He's got that money. Got a trust fund.
Does he? He embarrassed his mom at that charity ball. She may have cut him off.
Can you cut off a trust fund? I don't know how trust fund. I'm too poor to know how a trust fund works.
I mean, in the movies, always like you're cut off. I think you can. I think you can you can stop a trust or something if you're still alive. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They joined the Young Adventures. I hope not.
No, I don't know. I think I missed some of the cameos. Yeah, go back and check out the cameo. There's a lot of them. They're super cool. We also hear about Creed leading in the polls. Creed is like a very Donald Trump type. Just imagine, like, the mutants being MAGA, and he is leading. So it looks like the world has become super polarized after what happens with this asteroid. They're either super pro mutants or super anti mutants. So there's no in between.
Which is very like on par for the chorus.
Yeah, it seems seems hitting a little too close to home these days, to be honest with
Right.
you. Yeah, exactly. But Bishop, he kind of knows that this was gonna happen. He kind of had an idea of what was going on. So where was Bishop? Was he with Immortus? Was he chilling with that dude again?
He was avoiding Scott and Jean because he lost their baby. So he's waiting for them to be out of the way before he returns.
I didn't even think of that. Like if he had to come back, you gotta explain to him how he lost their baby.
Because Cable said I lost him immediately. Cable told them. So I was like, oh, that's why Bishop hasn't been back. He's like, nah, they're gonna be pissed I lost their baby.
They're like, motherfucker, you had one job.
Because I was confused. I was like, when Cable and Bishop meet in season 2,
Yeah.
and Cable's trying to kill him. And I'm like, so when I saw, I was like, he doesn't know, but
Yeah.
no, he doesn't know that. He doesn't know
know.
Bishop. Yeah.
Lost the baby. But that's not the first time it happened. There was another time when two people try to go at the same time. They lose each other, I believe. And I think it was when him and Shard try to go at the same time at one point.
Yeah.
So yeah, it happens. I guess it happens. So yeah, the X-Men, some of them end up in Egypt where they meet Apocalypse, who is super Egyptian, I guess, at this point.
I was like, what's Egyptian? His clothes? They could have gave him a tan.
Yeah, they really could have. But he is like super like pale, but like a mutant pale. They shouldn't have made him look like a white pale person. They should have made him look like a mutant pale person, like Domino or something. Like
Gray. He could have been
yeah,
gray.
yeah, like gray, right?
But they just made him white, like peach. And I
Yeah,
was like, if you could make him white, you could make him black. Also, black people could be pale or grayish.
that's true. Homie could have vitiligo for all we know. Like, we don't know.
Something was going on. I his. I thought he looked great.
Yeah.
Beautiful
No,
gowns.
it was cool. I like when they find out and they're like, oh shit, that is do they know? Because like I feel like Beast says, oh dear. So he knows.
They know it's him, but I think he's not Apocalypse yet. And so
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have a really interesting thing that we see next season where like they're all interacting with Apocalypse at different moments of time.
Yeah.
But I think the ones in the past are gonna try their best to convince him to be better or to not be a bad guy.
They should have went a little further and do what War Machine wanted to do and just like baby.
I was like,
baby Apocalypse.
I love that this is the symbol. It's so dark. They're like, oh my god, that's awful.
Yeah. Oh man, that's pretty big. We also see Apocalypse pick up a playing card in Genosha, which means we may get Dark Cable. I mean, sorry, not Dark Cable, Dark Gambit.
Yeah, absolutely, 1000%. I knew Gambit was coming back.
Yeah.
I thought Cable was gonna be the one too, but once I realized he wasn't, I was like, oh, Apocalypse, and there it is.
Yeah. We also see that Archangel is presumed missing, so he's always trying to find Apocalypse and do some shit with him. So we'll see that.
And Mystique, where's she been?
Where has Mystique been? Because I thought Cooper was going to be Mystique the whole time.
Me too.
It never happened. Nobody was Mystique. I would have been it would have been really cool if somebody we didn't expect, just some random person who we just like see in the background the whole time was Mystique. But no,
she was over it.
She's done with the mutants, man. She got the Jennifer Lawrence money and she's out.
She is, absolutely. I was like, dang, Mystique.
Yeah.
Where you came from.
No. We also see that Scott and Jean, instead of going to the past, they get sent to the future, and they meet a young Nathan wearing a little kufi. He's wearing a little Muslim hat. I was like, well, are they all the Dune in the future? Is that what's happening here? They're all
Just
Muslims.
You
They're in the
can't.
tent.
They are not Muslim in Dune. What are you talking about?
Dune is like completely based off of everything from the Middle East. But
That's what
there's
everyone's been yelling at me for the
but,
last 3 months.
but there's not a single freaking Muslim person in the cast. They're like, no, we're just gonna pretend
They're
that
like,
doesn't.
it's 20,000 years in the future. No one's Muslim. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, they're the Sunnis. Basically, it's the
They
same
call the
thing.
war the jihad or the
Yeah,
jihaders. I think. Give me a break.
like relax, okay, relax. All right. First of all, Islam will last that long, so I'm just gonna tell you guys that we're here for the long haul. All right, we're here for the long haul. All right? We're gonna.
Isn't Islam the oldest religion?
No, it's actually not. It's
Is
actually
it Christianity? No, Judaism.
Judaism is the oldest Abrahamic, but I think like Hinduism and comes even before
Ah,
that. But Islam is one of like the only religions where people like practice the way they practiced back day. Like they don't like change much. So
man,
like
Catholicism. We
yeah, we haven't changed anything, which could be good and bad, you know. So it sometimes it's in our favor, sometimes it's not. But the way it works is that when you know how Muslims pray, they pray 5 times a day.
Mhm.
So they're not just like reciting like a prayer or a mantra. They're actually reading like verses from the Quran, and like most Muslims have it memorized. Like
Mm.
so that's why like it's one of those like things that can never change because every Muslim has it memorized. So you can't say like, oh, I picked up this book and it had a different like version of the Quran because everybody knows the same version because we
Ah,
all when we pray 5 times a day, you end up memorizing it. So that's how it works.
that's ill.
Yeah.
Do you guys test each other?
Yeah, people do it all the time. I don't because I'm
Really?
dumb. Like
You're
I
like,
don't.
I thought you were gonna be like, I'm a
No.
cool Muslim.
I just know the classics. Like I there's a
I know the
few.
hits.
Yeah, I know the hits. I know the classics. I know the hits. I know the number 1 top charts.
Yes.
I know those. There's people that know every single one, and they can tell you what page it's on and everything. But I just know the classics. But yeah, that's definitely a Muslim Nathan Summers, man. I'm gonna claim him.
Absolutely, absolutely. Even, the whole group, they all had on, like,
Yeah,
the clothing and everything. I
yeah.
was like, "Okay."
I mean, yeah, for sure, man. I definitely felt like that's the vibe they were going for. It's very Dune-ish, so we'll see. But yeah, that's the end of the episode, man. It was crazy. A lot of things happened. I really enjoyed it. The Easter eggs were fun. I don't know how I feel about a season 2, because Bo is not coming back. What do you think's gonna happen?
I think I was talking to Michael about this. The season's already done. I think they're still gonna use it. They paid for it.
Yeah,
He already wrote the season 2. And I'm gonna put faith in all of because Bo didn't write like the entire
yeah. I mean,
season.
I'm sure this is a team effort.
Yeah, so I'm hoping I think just seeing how well it's done that people are going to that they're gonna stick true to the story and at least go in the direction that Bo had. Like they'd be crazy not to at least adapt most of what he put forward.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what they're gonna do. It does feel like they're gonna come up with the new X-Men, and then
Mhm.
in the present time, and then there's gonna be the X-Men's in the past, and then there's gonna be the Cyclops and Jean in the future. But I don't think we're gonna see anybody else we might know in the future because it's so far into the future, like 3165, something like that.
Wolverine, maybe.
Every yeah, that is true. According to Morph, it's
Morph.
it's just another dystopian future where Wolverine's the last to die.
I love it.
That was funny. Yeah, they might see. Maybe this time Wolverine might have a chance with Jean. They might probably finally become a throuple, man. You never know.
I felt like Cyclops being like, "Don't let her down," was like him being like, "I'm open to it."
He's like, if you survive, I'll let you hit. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. We could talk about it later,
we
you
can
know?
talk about it later. Just get better, bro. All right, Frankie. Yo, thank you so much for coming on the show. Let people know where they can find you.
Absolutely. You can find me on all platforms except for Twitter, at Fantastic Frankey, Frankey. And on Twitter, you can find me at Fanboy Fighter. I talk a lot of trash. I'll be covering my adventures of Superman.
I love that show, by the
And
way. It's
I
really
love
good.
it's so
The
good. People sleep on it.
The first season was so good. I really liked it, especially when they had Lois and the what's them called, the councils of Lois. Like so
And
many of
she's
them.
the dud Lois. That's my favorite part, that she's the dud Lois.
Yeah,
That and House of the Dragon is coming out, so I'll be
yeah,
there
yeah.
for both of those.
House of the Dragon is coming out in June, right?
16th,
Yeah,
yes.
June 16. Yeah, yeah. All right, cool, man. We'll try to get you on for House of the Dragon. We'll try to bring you back. And yeah, I'm gonna start watching the Superman Adventures of Superman and Lois. I think the animation is great. I love the story. I love the way they portray Superman. Like, I'm tired of the super awesome Superman who's just like all powered. I like the mild mannered one, which is I think the one we're gonna get with James Gunn too. So I'm really excited. Superman is definitely one of my favorite characters because of, he's just a good person, and that's what I really like about my superheroes, the ones that are just good people. So I'm excited about that.
Me too. I'm excited. Yeah, I'll come back. Tell Jazz stop ducking me. I want
Yeah.
yeah. Be like, Jazz, Frankie said, "Why do you hate me?"
Yeah. He still hasn't messaged me. I don't know what
Why
he's
do you
doing.
hate me?
It happens. It
It's
happens.
okay. It's
But
okay. I'll be
when am I
back.
are you going to the Brooklyn Comic Con?
No, my cousin's gonna be up here. I
Okay.
won't be there, but I'll probably see you at a premiere very soon this summer
Okay. All
for
right, cool.
sure.
I haven't been getting invited to too many premieres, unfortunately, ever since I lost my account. So we'll see. We'll see.
We'll
I don't
get you
know.
back. We gonna get you back. You're growing crazy though. You're growing rapidly. Those
We're growing. We're growing. I'm not worried about it. Also, when my reality show comes out in the fall, hopefully that'll help too. That'll be
absolutely.
exciting.
I can't
All right.
wait.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna throw a party. We'll throw a launch party when it pops up.
I'm gonna love it. I'll be there.
All right. I'll catch you later. Thank you everybody for joining us, and until next time, guys. Salaam, nerds.